Hey everybody, this is Eric Meyer, NASA Great Lakes Chief Instructor. I am here to do a video for beginners and for brand new folks, and it's designed to be a confidence builder. Um, I found that a lot of times when people are new to data, they sell themselves short, and they're like, "Man, I don't know anything. This is too hard. This is too difficult." Well, this video will allow you to follow along, and if you get it and it makes sense, give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself an attaboy. Keep on learning. This stuff isn't easy to learn, and which is why I'm doing these videos. And I try to go really slow and reinforce the basics. There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of capability. The TrackAttack software is wonderful for new folks, and I'm trying to set a pace that everybody can build from a wonderful foundation. So let's get started. Data is provided by Stu Jones at NCM. This data was captured by a TrackMate data logger, and as you can see here, I've pulled these channels: GPS long, lat, GPS speed. These are the big three. It's the ones that you should be looking at and be familiar with. We're fortunate to weave in the RPM channel. By the way, anytime I'm moving this little hand, this little Mickey Mouse hand, just follow along. I'll try to go around where I want your eyes to go. Tell you a little bit. And then this lap compare, which is this one right here, as you all know. Put the track map in here. I've picked two laps in this outing. I'm going to hide those laps. Let's get started. Again, the purpose of this video is not to find time or do compare Stu's laps here and there, because this is a brand new car for him, and there's time opportunity. He's just getting used to a car. This is his first outing with it. Rather, we want to look at the squiggly lines, tell some stories, and have you be able to go. My goal is for you to watch this and go, "Yeah, I know that. Hey, that makes sense. I know that. Yep, I know that. I know that. I know that." Some good basic fundamental information that has been shared and expressed in other videos. This is kind of a culmination of all those. Let's get going. As we come down the front straight, we can see a couple of things. And by the way, watch this little Mickey Mouse hand. At any time I have this blue indicator right here, my eye's often going up and down. So when I have this little point right here, I'm looking here, and I'm just going up and down. That's the benefit of this vertical line. So when I see something like this split in GPS speed right here, right, where there's a transition, the green line keeps going, and there's a little red bend in there, you should know by now that that is a shift. And how that's also represented is up here. You can see the red line above my hand, right, just to the up and to the left of my hand. There's a little dip in the longitudinal trace, right? That is a brief pause in the forward acceleration, longitudinal acceleration, that's coming down the straight. And that's what that little bad boy looks like. And we can validate that or verify that right there in the shift in the RPMs falling. We can also see there's another green one right next to it, right there, just to the left of my hand. See that little guy right there? Right there. And we can see a little dip in the green right there. So when you see that, that's not a braking event, guys. That is a momentary pause in acceleration. You can also see that represented in the RPM trace falling down. As we continue to go here, you should be able to see that this red lap right here on the GPS trace to the left of my hand broke a little earlier, right? And a little more forcefully or confidently. And I say that because the nature of the slope of the red line versus the green line. See how to the left of my hand, that green line just kind of lazily rolls over a little bit and then starts getting on some more brake pressure, right? Or it kind of dips down a little more. They're really not paralleling each other till down here. So that green was a little more lazy on the brakes. It was a little less confident. And we can also see that up here in the initial uh, longitudinal G's and how the red line dipped down a little more vertically and the green has more slope to it. You can also see that the green pushed a little harder on the brakes. There was a little more negative longitudinal G's right here. Do you see that? If you're also smart, you'll also know, and this is something you should start seeing, that right here, the red lap is 3/10 behind, and you can see this upward slope. You should know that when there's an upward slope like this, that there is a loss of time. And so where we're running the same time down here, right here we're a quarter of a second behind, and right here we're 8/10 behind in this small area right here. So anytime there's a big rise in this time lost, that's where you want to go look. There's something there. And if we use this blue line and we move right up here, we can say, look, that was in the brake zone right here. Because the beginning of that, look right here, it's beginning of the brake zone, beginning of where the longitudinal G's change. And it finishes over here, right? Finishes over here where we're done with braking, which is right here, which is right here. So you should be able to see that. Let's keep going. We can see right here that this is we're falling off the RPM earlier, right? Could we tell that anywhere up here? Probably not. You might see that in your video, but unless you had the RPM channel, you wouldn't be able to see that. We can see right here that Stu's braking about to the same exact point, and that when he goes to throttle, he's putting a lot of throttle in there because the vertical, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit, this slope that's rather tall, it's rather more vertical, reflects the fact that this is a very slow corner, and when he goes to throttle, he's really going to mash on it. And that's reflected in both the magnitude of the acceleration G's, 0.26, right? And the vertical nature of this. He's not slowly going to throttle. He's mashing on it, okay? You also notice how the acceleration rate at 61 miles an hour is a lot different than way down here where we're already going 95 miles an hour. So we can see right here that it's higher and it slowly goes down. What do you think that is right there? Right? We talked about it before. Yeah, that's a shift. We can see this down here as well. You can actually see it right here to the left of my hand. Right there. Do you see that? Right there. That's a shift, guys. That tells you where you're shifting. Okay, let's keep going. Again, you should have been figuring this stuff out by now. It should be understandable to you. Understandable, is that a word? You should be able to understand this. How's that? We can see right here that that the green lap carried more speed through here, right? And if we look at that and we drill down a little more closely, it's like it's the same braking location up here, right? It's the same braking location. However, there is more braking force in the red line, which is indicated in the slope here. Now this is a faster corner, so this is a good thing that the green is more lazily braking. This is a little more of a U shape where this green line is carrying speed through here. The green line is relatively faster than the red because the red overbroke, right? The red car can go through here at 87 miles an hour, but for some reason the red line went through there at 82, and that's reflected in this upward slope right here, where the red is losing time right here. See this slope, how it goes up right here? I know it's hard to see. It's right here. That's directly correlated to right here. That's directly correlated to right here. right above my hand right here, which is correctly correlated to your braking foot. Guys, braking foot is the hot ticket. Speed comes with your brake foot. Speed comes with your brake foot. And brake foot is reflected in the longitudinal channel, both in terms of slope and how deep it is. Let's keep going. A little shout out to Stu. You can see that he's pretty consistent in some of these points on the track. And the location points, not the speed values. Actually, the speed values are spot on. But if you look right here, and you look right here, see how they're overlaid almost exactly the same? Almost the braking point. It appears that the minimum corner speeds and the locations are pretty dang consistent, right? They're not all over the place. Here's one that's a little bit different, but not by much. So I'll suggest to you that Stu's got some really good eyesight. He's got some good turn-in markers, and is consistently hitting some of his apex points. He probably has a really good visual of specific points on the track. And he'd be a guy that I would ask to say, hey, where are you turning in here exactly? Because of this consistency. So nice job, Stu. Let's keep going through here. We can see a shift right here, right? Should be able to see that. We can see right here a different gear choice, right? Because there's no way that you can be going 85 miles an hour and 84.6 mile an hour, right? There's no way that one of these is slower than the other. This is just a different gear right through here. Okay, is that making sense? And the last thing we'll look at is down here. There's some variation, and I'm going to suggest to you that if this red lap wasn't on here, and we were just looking at this data, and we were to go down into here, and we were to look right here in this long G, if you were looking just at your fast lap, and this is a problem a lot of people do. You just look at one lap. You can't do that. There might be reasons why the data is goofy. Because if you look at right here, this would suggest that there's a braking event right here. And you can see that both in terms of the GPS speed sloping down, right? That means brakes, right? And you can see that also in the RPMs dropping. But more importantly, I'm looking right now and I can see this in these values of the negative acceleration G's, okay? So you might conclude, oh man, what am I doing through there? Or wow, that's normal because I don't brake through there. I don't brake in this part of the track. That's what that curve's supposed to look like. Well, let's add another lap. Matter of fact, let's add a couple laps. Let's go right back here. That's where it was. Apologies that the color changes. And what we're seeing back there is that what used to be the green lap, which is now yellow, that's a fluke. The other ones are actually on throttle up here. Do you see the purple and the green one above there? They're on throttle. So that data point is misleading. This is probably traffic related. And we can see that right here where the yellow lap slows down here and the yellow lap slows down there, which is a really bad thing because you want to get a run out of here and prioritize this run coming onto the front straight, which you should know. It's a priority corner and a priority corner because of it leads to a very long straight and high speed, and a priority corner getting out of here. Okay? So you've just watched this video. How'd you do? Did you do pretty well? Did you get all that? Did it all make sense? Can you see right here that there's less lateral G's in this same yellow lap, which may indicate traffic? Remember, this yellow lap was slower right here. Should be able to see this stuff, gang. Should be able to, and if you don't, keep watching some more videos. Maybe buy the book Squiggly Lines, which is absolutely outstanding. And if you understood this, good for you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Keep digging, keep learning data, and keep comparing laps. I'm Eric Meyer. We'll talk to you soon.